Hi all, welcome back to the final whistle. It's been a break, I think we thoroughly enjoyed the break. Hope everyone's good though. So tonight we're going to have the international break chat. We're going to catch you up with everything the championship. I'm going to be joined by the panel tonight. We're going to go through some stats. We might even do a championship team of the season so far, 11. We're going to look at the chasing pack for the promotion, the playoffs, even the relegation zone. I mean, we're going to talk all that. We're going to go through everything the championship and get everyone's thoughts on from last international break to this international break, how all teams have done in that. And we're joined by Gary, Mr. C90, Football Martin as well. They're going to be joining me ahead of this one. Let's get the comments in first. You know how it is. Hi, Jack. You have not done any match review shows since Stoke game. Yeah, big kind of had other things to focus on. Hey, Jack. I'm going to be late. I'll come back later. Okay. Evening, Terry. How are you, mate? Hope you're good. Hi, Jack. Which three teams do you think will be promoted this season? Well, I'm going to ask the boys that. Martin, I'm going to ask him, see who he thinks of doing well so far. I mean, has he changed his mind of who he went for at start? We're going to get Gary's. Gary, he'll obviously be a new guest to the channel. Watford fan, how are you? Let's get my guests in first. Mr. Gary. Gaz, how are you, mate?
Not too bad. Thanks, Jack. How are you, bud?
I'm all right, pal. Thank you. Tell everyone where they can find you, Gary, and what you do regarding the football.
Mostly just talking rubbish on Twitter most of the time. So at C92, I do have a Twitch channel as well, but I think it needs to be resurrected at some point. But for now, just across voicing interesting opinions on Twitter mostly.
Talking football and that, tell everyone how your FIFA experience is going, Gary, mate.
Oh, mate. To be fair, it's I'm currently trying to create a Leicester Evolutions team on there, so it's a painstakingly long journey. Now we're in the Championship, but it's coming together. So yeah, hopefully not too much longer.
Yep. Martin, how are you, pal?
Hello, Jack. How you doing? I'm good. I've enjoyed the international break. A little bit of time out. Time to reflect upon the last couple of weeks. It was a mad five game block, wasn't it? The last block, and we get ready for a mammoth run now through to March, don't we? So I think we all needed the rest.
Yeah, I think we need to recharge our batteries now. I think it's is it the last international break for a while now, Martin? This one?
Yeah, till March now. So we've got a big run, haven't we? Lot of 2-day game weeks coming up now, and we literally kick off next week with a 2-day game week, don't we? So it's going to be mega tough. I think it runs 2-day game weeks every other week. So the games will come thick and fast, and it will be a real test for a few teams, which I'm sure we'll talk about in the show.
Yeah, this is the run up to Christmas, isn't that? And that, well, wasn't it, Gary, regarding the Championship? This is where you sort of find out where teams are actually going to finish at the end.
Yeah, I think this is like you say the key part of the season now, isn't it? You're looking at if you can put a decent run together now ahead of the January window as well. You really start to find out if teams have maybe fluked the first start of the season, or if they're maybe not where they need to be, or hopefully in certain cases like ours, they're exactly where they're going to be come the end of the season.
Martin, give me your thoughts on the how the Championship's unfolded for you so far. Obviously, you're a Southampton fan, but as a whole in the Championship, how have you found it?
I've enjoyed it. I've enjoyed getting to know different teams, a different division. I think it took us certainly a little while to adapt to it, just because of the transfer window, and we went into the season with too many players that weren't going to be with us once the season really got underway. I always thought that was going to be an issue, but in terms of the Championship as a whole, I think it's really competitive. There's some really good sides in there. There's been a few that have really surprised me, which I'll touch upon in the show, but I'm really intrigued to see a few more teams that we've not played yet. But yeah, look, it's a cliche, but it's a mighty tough division. It's one of the hardest in the world. There's no doubt about that.
Yep. Gary, how have you found the Championship so far? Obviously, Leicester. I mean, how have you found it?
Well, to be honest, it's just takes me back. It's almost nostalgic from back in the days when we were there. But yeah, I think it's been a good test. Like I say, it's been great for the fans, obviously, to get to some clubs that some of the certainly younger fans wouldn't have experienced before. I think we've seen that with such good away followings so far this season. Obviously, performance and points basis, we certainly can't complain about that, sitting where we are. Great start. Obviously, for the club as a whole, it's a whole new period, new manager, everything. So we seem to have settled in nicely. But yeah, like Martin says, the Championship is the toughest league in the world. I think everybody knows that. There's some massive teams in there, so it's certainly been quite an exciting one across the whole league so far. So
yeah, certainly a world-winded one, a very unexpected one in results. Obviously, people expect certain teams to walk the league, like Leeds, Southampton, Leicester, coming down from the Premier League. I know, it's not been that sort of what you'd expect, you know what I mean? In the Championship, you can never overlook any side. We found that out, haven't we, in the last two games with Middlesbrough and Leeds, that we, can't take this Championship for granted. You're obviously going to lose a few games, aren't you, here and there? You've got to expect it. I don't think any side's ever gone undefeated in the Championship ever in a whole season, unless you're looking at Arsenal with the Premier League back in 2003 and 4, where the Invincibles. I mean, I don't think we'll see an Invincibles side in the Championship anytime soon. Probably not in our lifetime, but you never know. As a Leicester fan, you expect us to be in them promotion hopes, don't you? Going on to win the league and that. Obviously, 8 points clear going into this international break. I mean, how have you found the month with Leicester, Gary, from last international break going into this one?
Yeah, well, obviously, this is the first period where we've had 2 losses. It's an interesting one. I sort of think the 2 games, it's been a tougher run of games since the last international break for us. Obviously, Leeds and Middlesbrough in there. Sunderland was tricky enough as well. So I think it's been good to see. I think we've sort of found different ways to win games in the ones we've played. We're not blowing anybody away particularly, but we haven't really done that all season. So the fact that we just keep ticking along nicely, picking up wins as we were, and then the 2 defeats are 2 1-goal defeats. So it's no panic buttons or anything. I think there was chances in those games we could have won. So. Not overly concerned at the minute. The 2 losses, like you say, to see anybody go unbeaten in the Championship would be unbelievable. I don't think we'll ever see it. And again, like I say, the narrow losses, they're nothing too major. There's no gapingly obvious issues, particularly. And with a few injuries as well, I think that's sort of mounted up a little bit. So yeah, I'd say relatively pleased. We knew there was going to be some tricky games, but we're still top of the league there. We're still confident and certainly be confident coming back from the international break.
What did you make of Enzo Maresca's comments? I mean, he has come out and said, if you don't like how things are going at the minute, the way we're playing and that, then go and watch Leeds United in Plymouth. And even Liverpool, who are kings of that sort of thing. What have you made of Enzo's comments regarding that? I mean, he seems to be very quotacious when it comes to when things are coming at him with the questions and that, and he knows some fans will be frustrated. He understands that, but he's very open, isn't he, Gary? He's a very straightforward manager when he does come and talks out to the media.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's certainly very, very refreshing when we look at, certainly after the standard press conference wheel outs that we used to get under Brendan Rodgers, and things like that. And I think it's refreshing to see that, he's come in with new ideas. He's brought in some players, brand new tactics and way of playing, and the whole culture around the club, from, the fans right through to, players and stuff. There seems to be, it was always going to be a tough task after relegation to rebuild that, but it seems to be that everybody's bought into what he's trying to do. And the fact that he is unapologetic about it, and certainly when it comes to the media and even pointing things towards fans to say, look, if you don't like it, it's not going to change. This is the way we're doing it. It's great to actually hear that and have somebody who's got, quite clear philosophy, and he'll stick by that. So it's definitely been refreshing to have that. And, I'm all for it. At the end of the day, the league table doesn't lie at the moment. So if it's working, then why not? It's just be a case of, if it stops working, what is he going to do about it? And hopefully we'll find out.
Yeah, I think that's what I like about him. It's very open. He don't beat around the bush when he does come out with these comments. A lot like Brendan Rodgers used to hide around things and not very open. He always blamed everybody else for himself. Enzo takes it on the chin regarding results and that. He knows what the championship's about. He knows it's not an easy league, and the way we play football, it's something that it's working for him. I know we've had 3 defeats, but 13 wins out of 16. I mean, you couldn't have asked for anything better than that. If as a Leicester fan at the start of how we started. Martin, what have you thought of Leicester? I mean, top of the league, 8 points clear. How have you made of Leicester's fight in the championship so far?
I think they were pretty phenomenal, really, to the Leeds game. They'd said that little slip up against Leeds, but they were outstanding. I thought they were a really good side to watch. There's been 2 outstanding sides to play at St Mary's this season. Obviously, I watched Southampton and Leicester were one of those. And the second one was West Bromwich Albion a week ago. I thought they were outstanding, Carlos Corberán's West Bromwich Albion. But Leicester, a very good side. I think everybody has a little blip along the way. We had a 4-game blip. You just need to hope it was just a 2-game blip, and things will settle straight back after this international break, which I believe they will do. Leicester are on charge to get a really good points return, and they should win this league comfortably with the squad they got, the manager they got. I'll see them putting together a good run of form again now. It's just whether Ipswich, who you would say at the moment, they're defying all logic really with what they're doing. It's whether Leeds or Southampton can get and push them. I think top spot goes to Leicester. For me, I've said that all along, and I'm going to stand by that.
Yeah. Let's have a look at some of the other teams. Let me share the screen. Let's have a look at the championship table and go through some of the other clubs, what's in this league. When it loads, there we are. Ipswich Town, Gary, I mean, they're defying the odds at the minute, aren't they? I mean, they went unbeaten from last international break to this one. They've only lost once, which obviously came to Leeds United this season at Portman Road in a 4-3 defeat. What have you made of Kieran McKenna and Ipswich, and can they push Leicester to the finish?
Do you know what? I'll be honest, it might be a slightly unpopular opinion, but I really think that they can. They've lost 2 games in about 12 months now. Yes, granted, they were obviously in League One, but any team that comes up from League One and goes straight to the top end of the Championship deserves some credit. Kieran McKenna, again, seems to know what he wants from his players. The players know what he wants from them. They have a way of playing, and they're doing well. I mean, I actually feel a bit sorry for them almost, that because Leicester started so well, they've kind of gone under the radar of actually their achievements. They are obviously level on points with us. Everybody was singing about the fact that, we'd won 11 out of 12 and carrying on at this point. And you're sitting there going, Ipswich had the second best start to Championship season, beyond that, because it was the second best only to us the same season. They weren't really getting the credit. And I think from a managerial standpoint, I mean, you have to give Kieran McKenna plenty of credit. There was a reason that Jose Mourinho plucked him from their youth setup to join him with the first team squad at Man United, and from that he's then obviously gone on to start his own managerial career, and so far he's been outstanding. The key thing, I think, the test will be squad depth. Obviously, coming up from League One, they can't change the whole team, but we'll soon see it. I mean, as we've seen, maybe even from a Leicester standpoint, a few injuries have caused us slightly different ways of playing and it affected us. So I think it'll be whether if they can keep everybody fit, I see no reason why they can't stay up there. It'll be tough, obviously, but I think with Kieran McKenna, they've got a good manager who understands, obviously, what it takes to get promoted, as he showed last year.
I agree. Ipswich have been phenomenal this season. Like I say, to find the odds of where they should be to where they are at the minute. I mean, they've grafted, haven't they? Worked hard. I mean, they're not an easy side to beat. But this is an Ipswich side who don't know when they're beaten. And that comes under a lot of context with Ipswich. You know, they sometimes draw games, but they've actually pulled it back and, you know, they fight to the finish. They're doing well under Kieran McKenna. I think they can push us. I know people talk about Ipswich crumbling and that. When are they actually going to do it? But, you know, like you said, Gary, it's about squad depth and that. Have they got the squad depth to defy this second place finish for the end from now until the end? That's the big question regarding Ipswich. Obviously, they're on level points with Leicester. Goal difference is only 4 goals apart. I mean, Leicester and Ipswich scored the most goals in the league. Martin, talk to me about the playoffs. Obviously, your Southampton are in there. Leeds United are in there. Preston North End, Sunderland. I mean, what do you make of the playoff push? I mean, how many teams do you see in there at the end of the season?
It'd be interesting to see. I'm really intrigued to see if Ipswich, like you're talking about them, whether they do below at some stage. I think Southampton proved that many years ago that you can go from League One, go to the Championship and get promoted to the Premier League. So there's no doubt that they can do it. And I think they probably will do it. They've got some incredible form. They're scoring more goals than anyone else. They're having more shots than anyone else. They're having more possession in the final third than any other team at the moment, Ipswich Town, which was an interesting stat I saw. But the chasing pack, I don't see Preston North End being in there. I think they will fall away. They started really well, didn't they? But they haven't been as strong. But the sides to look out for, there's no doubt for me that West Bromwich Albion will be a side right in amongst it. I was so impressed with them at St Mary's the other week. I thought they were organised. They work hard. They're a big, strong, physical side. And that they will be right in the mix as long as they keep hold of their manager and they don't lose any players in the January window. They don't have loads of money to spend, but Corberan does incredibly well with a really tight budget. I think Sunderland to be there. They're thereabouts. Middlesbrough, the dark horse. I think a few of us called them to be in the playoffs at the start of the season. I don't think there's any doubt that Carrick's boys will be there. They just had that really poor start, but he's got people back from injury. He's got people available now. And he's stuck to his principles. So you've got to give him massive credit, Michael Carrick, because it would have been the biggest test of his managerial career. And he's come through it really well. I've said it on there before. I think he's doing an incredible job. And he will, you imagine if they go into the January transfer window and they do reinforce a little bit, they could really spearhead their promotion push. They'll be short for the top 2, but I definitely think there'll be a playoff side. Then you look at the pack that are chasing around it. Cardiff City is another one you have to talk about. They've been on a transfer embargo for the last 3-4 windows. First window in many years that they're going to come into it where they can buy players. So all of a sudden, their good start could really be improved by spending a bit of money in the window and strengthening their squad. So all of a sudden, you can throw Cardiff in that because they're already looking a decent side, good at home. So I think there'll be some real pressure applied to Sunderland. For sure, and Preston, I think they're going to come under pressure. I think Southampton and Leeds have a really good squad, so I expect them to be there. It's whether they can push for the top 2. But I think Southampton are the informed side in the division at the moment. They picked up more points from the last 5 than any other team in the division, so they're certainly in form. It's whether they can keep that going in the. I'll break it into blocks of 5. So it's how do they perform in the next 5? It's how does everybody perform in the next 5? Because those next 5 games will come quite quick.
I agree. Gary, what's your thoughts on the playoffs and the chasing back? I mean, Hull City, Cardiff, I mean, sides who you wouldn't have expected to be there, but they are. They're really pushing on. I mean, West Brom, we know they can get promoted to the Premier League. You've seen it in many years that they have done. Then you've got Southampton, Leeds. You obviously expect them to be there. Leeds even higher, to be fair. Preston, you know, they're making themselves known in this playoff scenario. And then there's Sunderland over there last season.
Yeah, I think you know, it's obviously we're still quite early days in there, and I think it's that sort of typical championship chat of, you know, if anybody puts a good run together, they can get themselves in contention at any point. So Preston in there at the moment because they had a good run, obviously at the start of the season. Although they've sort of slowed down a little there, they've managed to pick up a couple of wins, obviously in the last 2 games, but they're, you know, keeping themselves in the mix. In terms of Leeds and Southampton specifically, obviously we sort of, if we're looking at those two, I think we're looking at them as part of like a top 4 for those automatic places. I think sort of below that, you know, is where it's who's going to take those last 2 playoff spots. Obviously, like Martin said, West Brom have been impressive, play a decent brand of football. I'm glad you mentioned Middlesbrough as well. Obviously, they, you know, had a tough start, and then they've put that run together, which just meant that they've pushed themselves back up into contention. You know, the fact that there's, yeah, they're only 2 points off and sat in 10th. You know, it's still quite tight in there. So yeah, I think the teams, like you say, well, look, all the teams that Martin's already mentioned, the ones that we've got to look out for. I mean, even Hull City as well. They've proved that they can beat anybody in the league if they want to. It just depends what hole you get on the day, I think. But yeah, I think you probably are looking as far down as maybe Watford and Stoke as the last 2 that could, if they wanted to, push their way up into that. But again, to sort of echo what Martin was saying, it's that sort of 5-game block, or these next 5 games will really start to bring that picture a bit more to light of who's really going to be looking ahead of January, who can strengthen, and who can really make themselves a push in the new year for creating one of those spots to themselves.
I agree. I mean, you looked at like I say, Coventry City. I mean, you know, that they were down there last season, when they were fighting, and then all of a sudden ended up in the playoffs in the second half of the season. Middlesbrough, you know, struggled at the start. I mean, they've fighted the way back. Like Martin said, they needed that 1 win. They got it, and the car's now motoring. You know what I mean? It's running smoothly. You know, they've only lost 1 game in the last 5, so they've been picking up the wins. Then we move down into the bottom half of the table. I mean, Martin, talking about some of these teams then, I mean, bottom half of the table, Blackburn, Watford, Stoke, Millwall, Norwich City have been dreadful, haven't they? You know, they was on some fine form at the start of the season. They seem to be dropped off quite a bit. Birmingham City under Wayne Rooney, it's not starting well there for him. Plymouth Argyle, they can be good at home, but then, you know, can they go and beat teams away? That's a question for them. Coventry, I mean, yeah, they're in some really bad form, haven't they? I think they've had bloody more draws. Yeah, they have more draws than wins and loses. Huddersfield Town, Darren Moore, I mean, 1 win in the last 5 for him. Talk to me about the teams from 12th to 21st.
Oh, mate, it's an interesting one, really. If you look 12 down, I still think Stoke could be a dark horse. I think you just touched upon it a minute ago. I still think they could be a dark horse for the top end, to be honest. I think they put a really good run together this last block, though they're just starting to settle because they made so many changes to their squad in the summer. And they had a massive overhaul of players. So they're just settling down. It's a thin squad. Whether they strengthen in January, who knows? Watford, I don't see them being in this bottom half. They've got more clean sheets than anyone in the division. They don't score as many, but obviously they did in their last outing. But you know that I don't see them being a bottom 10 side, bottom 12 side. I think the scrap for relegation will be probably put together by you got the 3 there, and you could definitely throw Huddersfield in that. Coventry, I don't see them getting relegated. It's whether our goal, I think it'd be between our goals. So it'd probably be between the 5 teams, I think. And that was always the teams that we thought that would be in and around it. It's whether QPR under a new manager they're going to change the whole philosophy and the way they play football. It's whether he's got enough time to really turn that around, and whether he's got the players at his disposal. Huddersfield under Darren Moore, I think he's got a really tough job there. You know, they've had bleak time, haven't they? Really, they just about did it last year, but I see them struggling to stay up. I really do. I think it'd probably be between them and QPR, to be honest. I think QPR, if there's one side that could probably get out of the bottom three at the moment, it probably would be QPR, just for the fact they've changed their manager. They're back him in the window, and his philosophy does sound quite good, what he wants to do. You can already see that the effect that he's having with his side already. So Birmingham City won't be down there neither. I think Rooney will turn that around there. I just think he needs a bit of time. There's not much patience in football, but he definitely pull some wins together in a minute. He has to. He has no choice. They have to start winning games, otherwise they're going to spiral into those relegation spots.
I agree. Gary, the relegation zone. I mean, Rotherham, QPR, Sheffield Wednesday. I mean, talk to me about Sheffield Wednesday. I mean, there's a lot going on at that football club, haven't they? New managers, the owner having a bit of a Barney there. You know what I mean? He went on a mad one, basically, didn't he, Mr. Chanziri? Sheffield Wednesday's time in the Championship at the minute, though. I mean, you look at the figures itself: 1 win, 3 draws, 12 defeats. I mean, it's not ideal where they wanted to be. I mean, Chanziri spoke about them making the playoffs when they got promoted this season from League One playoffs last season. What have you made of Sheffield Wednesday? I mean, how much of a mess is Sheffield Wednesday in?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's quite clear the fact that we can see that they're already 9 points off of the safety spot at this early stage. They don't look like they're going to be picking up many points. They haven't been playing any particular style of football. They look completely lost to confidence. And like you say, then when you start hearing things further from back in the club at the top level, it's never a good sign of what potentially is going to come. It seems like a club in turmoil, which is, like you say, quite a turnaround from obviously them being promoted. So it's a shame that it's happened. Like I think we'll quite like Sheffield Wednesday. Obviously, are a massive club, and you like to see them, at least staying in the Championship. But 6 points from 16 games is not a return that really gives you any confidence of clawing away from that. Like you say, Queen's Park Rangers are also being spoke about how well how badly that they'd started. Obviously, yes, they have now sacked the manager and have brought in a new manager, a new philosophy, and things like that. But these are teams that maybe have been more proactive. Sheffield Wednesday just seemed to keep going the same way. There was a long period where there was no changes really made in what they were trying to do, and I think it's worrying for them. But again, if they manage to put together some half decent results in this next block ahead of January, if they can maybe strengthen, it could be a really interesting battle. I think all those teams down there will be looking the same. I agree with what Martin said. I think out of the 3 in the bottom or in the relegation zone, then QPR would be the ones I'd be looking at to pull themselves out of it. I don't expect Coventry to stay down there, as much as it makes for pleasant viewing as a Leicester fan, obviously. But I don't expect them to stay down there. But I think if you're looking at Plymouth, if Plymouth, we've already touched on Plymouth, very good at home, and I think if you can pick up points at home and make it hard for teams to come to, that's always what you want to look to do if you're going to avoid relegation. And then if you can get some points on the road, then you should be okay. So I think Plymouth have enough about them to keep themselves up. And then it's going to be interesting just to see what Mr. Rooney does at Birmingham. It's obviously not been a good start at all, but the reason he was brought in was because they weren't on a particularly good run before that. So it's not necessarily that it's down to him that he just hasn't changed the fortunes yet. Once he gets to grips with it, I think we can maybe see them pull away from that. So I think the bottom 4, it will be between those mostly, and then maybe, like say, depending on Plymouth's home form, they might drop into that as well.
Yeah, Martin, we're going to move on to manager talk. There's obviously managers under pressure. Managers have been sacked. New managers have come in. Nigel Pearson, left Bristol City, did he? I think that was mutual consent. Then you look at Rotherham United, Matt Taylor, he went as well from Rotherham. QPR ended up sacking Gareth Ainsworth. They ended up bringing in their new manager. Then you look at Sheffield Wednesday, Danny Roll. And then you've got who else have you got? Bristol City. You've got the former Oxford manager in there, haven't you now? Liam Manning. What have you made of manager talk, Martin? I mean, what have you made of, firstly, of the managers that have left their jobs, and what have you made of managers coming in? And then we'll go on to who you feel's under pressure at other clubs.
Well, let's start with QPR. I was not surprised at Ainsworth going. They've been on a pretty poor run now for about 12 calendar months. They've not hardly won a home game, I think 20 home games or what, they won one game. So the home form's just been dreadful. So they're going to have to change that. I've listened to a lot of his press conferences, and I quite like what he says. Quiffentes, pronounced it correctly, hopefully. But he looks like a guy that's gonna. He knows what he's talking about, and he knows what he wants to do. He wants to win the ball higher up the field, which he do. So I think it was a change that probably had to happen. The Rooney going into Birmingham, I always found a bit of an odd one. And when I did my fan cam at St Mary's the other week, I managed to catch a few of the Birmingham fans as I was walking around the stadium, and a couple of them come on my vlog. And one guy I was chatting to, he said that Eustace was doing really well as a manager. He said he probably didn't think he was going to take him to like the next level, and that was probably where they were sat. It probably wasn't necessarily they started the season okay, but they want to kick on, and they see Rooney as that man that can do it. Some people say that he's maybe been brought in because he's he's going to give him sort of coverage all around the world. He's such an icon in the game, Rooney. Whether he can do it managerial wise, he's done really well with Derby, but he's under pressure there. At Derby, he was in a club that, really and truly, if he, whatever he did was going to be an achievement for them because they were in such a mess. And if they managed to stay up that season, it would have been an absolute hero. But they come close. So I don't think he's a terrible manager. I just think he'd take a little bit of time at Birmingham to turn that round. And then obviously you spoke about Bristol City. Hard to judge that one. Liam Manning's gone in. His team Oxford, they were like second in the division, weren't they, in League One?
Yeah.
So he's given up a job where he's doing really well to go to Bristol City, but he probably just couldn't turn it's a big club, Bristol City. Whether they give him any money in the window is another matter. I think I read somewhere they don't think he will. So Danny Roll's on the hide into nothing at Sheffield Wednesday, in my opinion. I don't with Chansiri, the owner, I don't think he's got any chance, to be quite honest, because he's an absolute loose cannon. So the cat's jumped on your but yeah, it'd be interesting. Rooney's the standout one. I'm keen to see how he does, really. I think, and a lot of people will, because the Birmingham fans are not happy at the moment at all. They sing his name 1 minute, they boo him the next minute. It's a passionate set of fans. It's a passionate set of fans at Birmingham City, and I like their fans. I think they're a great bunch, and they obviously want to see him do well, but they won't tolerate continuing to lose games. That's for sure.
So, Gary, talking about managers under pressure, could potentially lose their job in the next coming fixtures, which are leading up to the next international break. Which teams do you actually see could potentially lose their manager? Who do you think could swap around?
Well, I think obviously, you look at Sheffield Wednesday, bottom of the league there, and whatnot, and the way they're going, it's an interesting one. I think Coventry, you could be looking there. Will they pull the plug? Do they think the early season sort of start and whatnot was good enough? Do they think this is just their sort of blip? As we've said, every team goes through a blip at some point in the Championship. It's a long season. It's just whether or not Coventry feel that they're going to have enough to get out of it. So that could potentially be one to watch. Maybe not a popular one, but obviously any of the teams down the bottom that haven't already changed managers would always be looking, certainly ahead of January window as well. So these sort of next 5-6 games before we head towards the transfer window are going to be key for a lot of these managers that are potentially under pressure. we said, the pictures will start to take place for where teams are likely to be. So depending on where certain teams might be coming into that window, it might be the time where, managers may bite the owners might bite the bullet a little quickly, get new manager in ahead of the transfer window, because obviously they're not necessarily going to want to do that after a transfer window if it's not going their way. So, I think it's always an interesting one. Like you say, we know there's no loyalty in football, and there's not much time in football for managers. And again, some of those teams around the middle of the table, if they feel that they want to get a push for promotion, the same sort of way that Birmingham were looking to kick on to the next level and bring in Rooney, the likes of, Blackburn, Watford, Stoke, it's all going to depend on the owners and how ambitious they feel the managers are going to be, and if there's also who's available. That's also always another big thing. If there's managers there available, they feel that they can take them to the next level, they might bite the bullet and do that. If they don't think there's anybody out there, maybe that could help. So it's not really a definitive answer, but I think there's a few there that would be potentially worried about their job, but Coventry could be an outside one, depending on how these next sort of few games go. I think can be key for them.
Yeah, well, I agree.
A manager, they're still as well, aren't they? At the moment, they're still searching for a manager after the sacking of Matty Taylor. So there's one vacancy already. Be interesting to see who takes that one. I do agree with what you're saying. I think it'd be interesting to see what happens at Coventry. I think Mark Robbins is a really good manager. I think they're quite fortunate to have him. They just lost a couple of really good players there. But the one to really keep an eye on, I reckon, would be at Norwich City. If how ambitious
I was just about to mention that too, Martin.
Yeah, I just think that the result before the international break probably
kept him in a job, hasn't it?
Kept him in a job, really. It was a massive win for them at the time. And who was it against? Who did they? I'm trying to think who they beat now. But it was a big victory for him. It was a big victory because he was under so much pressure, and they just had such a bad run since the last international break. You look at their form. I think they lost 4 on the bounce there. It was a horrific run. You've gone in 5 in the bounce, he would have definitely got the sack. You would have thought. So
it was Cardiff they beat.
Cardiff, and interesting. Yeah, it was to go to Cardiff and get a result. He must have been chuffed to bits with that because Cardiff have been doing so well. So that'd be the one to look at for sure.
What about Swansea City? Michael Duff, I mean, quite a few Swansea fans, if you talk to them, they treat Michael Duff like Marmite. It's like they love him or hate him, and he's either good enough for the job or he isn't. With Swansea, I just feel, you can get some wins going, and then, they feel he can turn it around, but then you're on a slump that, they're basically like Norwich, they're on like that sort of form, aren't they, at the minute? How do you find it, Gary, with Michael Duff at Swansea? I mean, could we find that they might pull the plug on Michael Duff? I know he's only not long took over there, but some owners seem to change their mind, don't they, if things aren't going great?
Yeah, I think that's the key thing, isn't it? Certainly in the Championship, where there's so many teams, and probably so many teams that feel that they could give themselves a shout at getting into that playoffs and sneaking up. And ultimately the other side of it is they want to be in that Championship fight. The teams at the top end seem to change every year. So if you could stay up, obviously Ipswich have shown that it doesn't matter. You don't have to be in the top half of the table to give it a push the next year, teams that are coming up. So it's always competitive. And I think with so many teams potentially looking that they could change their managers, it may be some of the more nervous owners might be forced into making changes before they maybe lose out on a particular target. Obviously, most of these owners will have an idea who they would want in charge if their managers were to be sacked ahead of time. So once you sort of see one, managerial sacking, and as we said, we've already one vacancy, it could sort of push a few of the other owners in to making changes maybe sooner than they thought. So Swansea is one to look out for. I think, they didn't have great results. Obviously, they can be hit and miss. I think on their day, they play a decent style of football. They can pick up points. They've shown that over the years as well. I think it's all going to be determine on which owners can hold their nerve the most as to whether some of these managers will last the course, certainly to the transfer window anyway. But I think Swansea are definitely one to keep an eye on as well. But again, if they pick up some points in this next sort of block of games, then we'll be looking at it going, oh, it was a great decision to keep them in charge. So it's definitely an interesting one to keep an eye out for. I think you're right.
I agree. Right, lads, we're going to play a game of stick or twist. We're going to go for every single team. You can have a stick with where these teams are at the minute, or you can twist it and tell me where you think they're going to finish. I'll tell you what. Should we start with the bottom, or do you want to start at the top?
The relegation.
Let's start at the bottom. I think.
Let's start at the bottom. Sheffield Wednesday.
I personally, I will stick. I think they're gonna be down there thereabouts.
Yeah, Martin.
I think they'll be where they are. Stick.
Yeah, I'll stick there as well. Queen's Park Rangers, Gary.
I'm gonna throw it out there and twist on that. I think we covered that. I think of the three in the bottom, they're the ones that could push themselves to stay up there. I think.
Yeah, I'll twist as well. I think they could. Under this new manager, could give them that huge boost now to actually get out of it, turn things around. Martin?
Yeah, I'm with both of you. I think QPR will, like Gary said, I think they'll be the ones to. So yeah, I'm going to do twist. I think there'll be an upward trend, definitely.
Rotherham United.
It's a tough one, but I think obviously if QPR are going to, we're twisting on QPR. I think they'll stick with Rotherham there. Unfortunately for them.
Yeah, do I see Rotherham getting out of it this time round after, because they always seem to be down there, don't they, Martin? Rotherham United. They're like Barnsley, basically. Barnsley used to be like that. I think I'll stick with Rotherham there for now. Huddersfield Town.
I think they're going to be right in the mix. I think they'll be the one that gets pulled into it. So can I twist them downwards?
Yeah, you can do what you like. You can swap them over with QPR if that's what you want to do.
Yeah, they're the ones that are getting sucked in for me.
Yeah, I'm gonna go. I'll go twist as well. Yeah, I think Huddersfield. Their defence is wide open, isn't it? You know what I mean? The leak goals like it's no one's business. And maybe they've made the mistake in getting rid of Neil Warnock. That's something that Huddersfield fans kind of like speak quite highly of. That Neil Warnock shouldn't have left. They shouldn't have made the change that they did. But like I say, sometimes you can make changes and it can be the wrong decision. What do you think to Huddersfield, Gary, mate? Stick or twist?
No, I echo exactly what you two have both said there. I think they're the ones that will be pulled into it. So I'll twist them downwards as well.
Coventry City, Gary, we'll start with you.
As much as I don't want to say it, I'm gonna twist, and I think they're gonna push themselves back up the table. I've got a bit of confidence in Mark Robbins. I think they will come good.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna twist on that. I think they'll finish higher up. Martin, Cov?
Yeah, I echo what you say. I think that they'll probably finish a little bit higher. I don't think they'll be a top half side this year, but I think they'll be a mid-table side. So twist upwards for me.
Plymouth Argyle.
I'm going to sort of stick with where they are. Personally, I don't see them pushing up the table, but I think if they keep the home form, they'll stay away from the relegation battle. So I'm going to stick with where they are.
Yeah, Martin.
Yeah, me also. Yeah, I'm with that.
Yeah, I had them roundabouts this season when I did the predictions for them. I'll stick them where they are for now. Birmingham City, will Rooney turn it around?
I'm really not sure on this one. I think this is the toughest one for me. I think I'm gonna stick with where they are. I don't think they'll end up getting sucked into the relegation, because I think if it gets that way, he'll be sacked, and they'll move into something else. I don't see him potentially pushing them much further up the table. Plus, obviously, I sit firmly on the Vardy side of the Vardy-Rooney debate there as well. So, I can't give him too much credit.
Martin, Birmingham.
Yeah, I think they'll be on that upward trend. They'll be much more towards mid-table, I think, latter part of the season. So twist upwards for me.
Yeah, I think I say, well, I'll go with a twist on this one. It's got to get it right at some point. Like sometimes it takes games to do so. Swansea City.
Again, it's another tough one. From where they are. Involved in either a playoffs or a relegation scrap, but I think they can come good. So I think if they do go anywhere, it'll be upwards. But I'm going to stick with where they are at the moment.
Martin, Swansea.
Yeah, stick with me. I don't see a massive upward trend for them. I think they win a few, lose a few.
Yeah,
I agree. Norwich City.
I think, like we've already discussed, I think it's going to depend on the manager situation. That last win there before the breaks, obviously, certainly was a great win. Like we said, away to Cardiff. But if they do start slowly in this next window, we could see a managerial change. So depending on that, but I think if anything, it will be potentially downwards. So I think I'm gonna twist and say downwards. I'm gonna unfortunately try to resign Norwich to a downward spiral on that.
Martin.
Yeah, I'm going to stick, mate, for the minute. I just don't see a massive change for them. I just think they'll be a mid-table side, to be honest.
I agree. It all depends on the situation with David Wagner, whether they sack him or they keep him. It all depends how this win's going to do them after the international break, beating Cardiff. Can they carry on that run, or was it just a flash in the pan, shall we call it, sort of win? Millwall.
I think stick. I think it's quite an easy one for Millwall. Again, they'll win some games. They'll lose some games. They play some good football. I don't see them pushing towards the playoffs, but they'll definitely by no means be in a relegation battle. So it's quite an easy stick, that one for me.
Yeah, I'd say stick for Millwall. Martin?
Millwall, I'm going to twist and I'm going to put them on a downward trajectory. I don't see him ripping anything up, really, to be honest. I just think they're sort of being that bottom sort of 8 or 9, I would think. So I'm going to put them to go downwards a little bit, to be honest.
They've obviously brought in a bloke from the England setup at the Millwall, I believe, as a new manager. So whether he can get them going, I don't know. Have they got the structure in the team to do it? In the minute, they've been a bit of a... I don't know. They've been a bit up and down. I'll stick with them for a minute. Stoke City, Martin.
Stoke City, no twist. I see them. I said earlier, I think they could be a dark horse for playoffs. I think they're probably, if they need to bring a few players in, they will do in January. But they've got a decent manager, settling their squad in. They've got some really good players there. I think they'll be pushing upwards, mate. To be quite honest.
Gary, what about Stoke?
Yeah, no, I can completely agree with that. We obviously spoke about them earlier in the show, but I think, they'll be pushing up. You can see their last form, or their recent form, sorry. I think definitely they'll be up and around that playoff shout.
I agree. Watford, I mean, some managers only last 6 months.
Yeah, I think it's similar to Stoke. They've obviously on recent form, they're doing well. I don't think they'll push as high as Stoke. I think of the two, Stoke have got a better chance. So, with the teams above them as well, I think if they do go anywhere, it'll only be 1 or 2 places. So, I'm going to sort of stick with where they are at the minute, just because I think there'll be better teams than them still.
I agree, Martin. Watford.
Yeah. I twist upwards a little bit. I don't know if they're being around the playoffs, but it'll all be about whether they keep their striker fit. Is it Ragovic? Can't pronounce his name. The striker, which he scored 6 goals for them so far this season. He's decent for them. They don't let loads of goals in. They got the best clean sheet record in the division. So I think I think probably Stoke could be the better of the two. But I don't see Bristol City being that high up. I think there'll be a few that maybe fall away, but I don't see a massive upward trend for them.
Blackburn Rovers. I'm going to say twist. I think I play basically like a place lower. I don't see them finishing where they're going to finish. I think it'll be lower for them, from me.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Obviously, if we're talking the likes of Stoke and Watford pushing further up, obviously somebody's got to fall down. So I think sort of Bristol City, Blackburn, are the two you'd be looking at. So yeah, I would agree. It would be a twist down, but not by much.
Martin, Blackburn Rovers.
I'm going to say stick as long as they keep their top man. That the league's
Smolitz.
top goal scorer at the minute is Sammy Smolitz. There'd be no doubt there'd be a load of teams in for him in the January window. Whether they'll be able to stand firm on that, you don't know. But people will want him because he is scoring. What's he got? 10 goals.
Yeah.
And to be fair, like out of all the top goal scorers at the moment, he's the only one that hasn't scored a penalty. Adam Armstrong scored 2 penalties. Jack Clark scored 4 penalties. Smodic hasn't scored any. It's all in open play. So he's a top striker, that boy, that's for sure. So if they keep him, they'll be where they are. But I'd twist him if they let him go, that's for sure.
Yeah, but Martin, we're going to stay with you. Bristol City.
Bristol City, stick. I think they'll be a mid-table side, Bristol City.
Yeah, for me, I think we'll twist and go a place lower. Yeah, I think
big job for Liam Manning, though. It's a big job, isn't it?
It is.
He's only 38 years old. He's a young manager. There's a big upward trend on young managers. You notice in this division, everybody's taking young managers and not going for these tried and tested Neil Warnocks anymore. Nigel Pearsons. They've gone for something totally different there. It's just whether it works out.
Gary, Bristol City.
Yeah, I think again, I sort of have to agree on that. It's an interesting job for Liam Manning. Obviously, being a younger manager coming in after somebody like Nigel Pearson, it could be a complete culture change. But that could be what that squad needs. Obviously, it'd be interesting to see what he does in the window. So yeah, I think I'll stick. I think they'll be a mid-table team. I don't see them pushing. It's going to be a bit of a transition for them, into that. But I don't see them pushing too much higher, so I'm going to stick with where they are.
Middlesbrough, I'm going to twist. I think they'll finish in and around the playoffs for me. Yeah, I think that'd be it for Middlesbrough for me. I think they've now started to get going in there and start showing the quality that they have. So yeah, twist from me.
Yeah, I agree. I'm going to twist, and I would actually put them in a playoff spot. I think they probably take one of those by the end of the season. So I'm going to definitely twist and push them right up there.
Martin, Middlesbrough, Michael Carrick.
Yeah, definitely for me. I think there'll be playoffs. No doubt about it. I think Michael Carrick's top manager, and they got a chance now to get a load of wins under their belt, get some games thick and fast. They got Hayden Hackney, who's playing really well in midfield. Spoke about him loads of times on the show. Riley McGree, they say, he's playing really well. He's their second top goal scorer. Sam Greenwood scoring goals for them. They're just starting to kick on, and if they bring a striker in the window, they'd be a real force. That's probably one thing they really miss is that out and out. They had that Akpom last year, didn't they? Who was scoring loads of goals. They miss him, but they need somebody like that, and that's the difference sometimes in having a goal scorer.
Cardiff City.
I think stick. I think we said they could push, but I think of the teams around there, like I say, I'm going to twist Middlesbrough up into that. I think that other teams above them are probably keep Cardiff about where they are. I
agree. Martin, Cardiff City.
Yeah, stick. I'm with Gary on that. I think they'll be where they are.
Hull City.
I think. Well, like I say, if we're going to be pushing Middlesbrough, I think it's a stick, but maybe a twist one or two places downwards. Obviously, we've talked about Stoke as well, pushing them way up. So I'm gonna twist downwards. I think of the two.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with that, Martin. Hull City.
Oh, I think they might be in the playoffs. I think they'll be right thereabouts. I was impressed with them when we played them. I'm going to twist upwards. I'm going to go. Okay. I'm going to go against the grain with this one.
West Bromwich Albion.
I think that's a stick really when you consider their level on points with Sunderland in the playoffs. So they're going to be there or thereabouts. I don't see them falling away. If anything, it'll be a twist up.
Yeah, same here. Martin, West Brom.
Yeah, I echo that as well. I said to you earlier on the top of the show, I thought they were really good when I saw them the other week. they just don't have any money. So they're going to go into January and probably not spend any money. There's already clubs sniffing around their players, so it'd be interesting to see what happens there. But yeah, I'm gonna go stick.
Sunderland.
Well, going on the basis of all the teams I've pushed up into the playoffs, somebody's got to fall out. So I'm going to say of them there, I think they'll be close. I think they'll just fall short of the playoffs for me. So it's twist down by one, particularly.
Yeah, I agree. I think I had Sunderland down as 7th this season in the predictions. Martin, Sunderland.
Yeah, I think I'm going to stick. I think they might just make the playoffs. I think it'd be depending on Jack Clark. It's pretty obvious that he's their main man. He's in great form. Top goal scorer in the league, second top goal scorer in the division at the moment. So it'll all be about him really, whether they can keep him fit. But if they do, I think they'll be in the playoffs.
Preston North End for me. I'm gonna switch it up and down for me. I don't see them being there at the end of the season. I'm going to twist on that one.
Yeah, I have to agree with that. I think of all the teams up there, they're going to be the ones to fall away, unfortunately. More so maybe because the teams below them will be better than them. So yeah, I'm going to twist downwards.
Martin, Preston.
Yeah, twist downwards.
Southampton,
Definitely.
Martin. We're going to go with you for this one.
Twist. I'm going to twist.
Downwards, I'm assuming.
Upwards. No, I think I think they'll be right there. If Ross Stewart scores the goals that he looks like he could potentially score, I think he could really push us into that second spot. I think that out of the two chasing teams, I think we could really, really put pressure on Ipswich. Super and Pret's got really good depth. People don't talk about their depth, but if they brought in another midfielder in the window, Southampton, I think they're really strong at centre back, really strong at full back. I think that they could be the side to get autos. I really do. I've got a really funny feeling. I fancy us at the moment, which is unlike me.
Yeah, you weren't saying that at the start of the season, was you, Martin? Slagging Martin
Tony,
off.
Tony changed my tone.
It's amazing what a few wins can do, isn't it?
Yeah. It'll be about Ross Stewart for Southampton.
Martin, mate.
It'll all be about Ross Stewart.
You just got to get fit first. I'm going to stick with Southampton in the playoffs. I've had them in the playoffs this season, so I'm going to stick with them there. Gary, Southampton?
See, to be honest, that top four, I don't think particularly changes. I obviously gave my thoughts about Ipswich earlier, so I'm going to stick with Southampton where they are.
Leeds United, Gary?
The same reasons. I think stick. I think it will be a very close run. I think between that top four, I think and I include Leicester in that as well. I think that top four will be very, very close. But I do think by the end of it, it might only be 1 or 2 points. But I think Southampton, Leeds, possibly in the playoffs. Like I say, I really fancy Ipswich. I like Kieran McKenna, so I think they might just hope in a way that they just have too much for the other two there.
Martin, Leeds?
Stick. I think they'll be there. I think they'll be there thereabouts. I think they're maybe a little bit more the inconsistent side so far. They've been a bit more settled recently. Again, it depends what happens in January. Will they get raided? Will club people come in for something? They've got good attacking players, haven't they?
Yeah.
That's the one thing about them, that they're going to score probably more than they let in. So I think they'll be there. Stick.
Yeah, I think I'm going to stick with Leeds there. Obviously, I had them second this season in the predictions of where I thought they'd finish. I had them and Leicester up in first and second. I think I'm going to stick for now. We'll see in the next international break where they are and how they're doing at that point, up until that point. So I'm going to stick with their Leeds now. Top two. We'll do this in twos, I think. Leicester and Ipswich, I think it will stay as it is for now.
Yeah, I agree. I think it'll be those two. I think certainly on the way it's started, I think it will carry on that way. I think it'd be nice to see a bit more of a gap form, but I think that will be the top two. Obviously, I think Leicester will come out on top because the squad will show overall. But yeah, that's the top two for me at this stage anyway.
Martin, do you agree?
Yeah, Leicester stick. I think Ipswich twist. I think they might just drop out of it. It just depends if they can keep keep it going long enough. Really, but will they have the squad to do it? Everyone has a blip, as we both know. They're yet to have their blip, but how big will their blip be?
Yeah, agreed with that. Right, boys, should we do the team of the season so far then? We've got to pick a player from each of the teams. I'll tell you what formation do you want to play with this one?
4-2-3-1 suits us, I think.
I'll tell you what,
Yeah,
we'll go there then.
definitely.
So one player from each team, so you've got to pick 11 players in total. Goalkeeper, who's impressed this season? I mean, I'm not going to put Leicester's up there because I think we can go higher up with Gary with Leicester's forward.
Yeah, I think there's as good as Hermanson's been, and obviously, for the least goals conceded, I think it would be you'd lose out a Leicester player. I think there's other Leicester players that you would put ahead of that further in the team. So he's as good as he's been. I think it's more if you're only going one from each side. I don't think we take him. So I don't really know. Unfortunately, I haven't watched a lot of all of the other teams.
Yeah.
So it's a tough one. I mean, it's just a case if you're looking at the table, Ipswich don't concede many goals either.
He's brilliant, the Ipswich goalkeeper.
Yeah.
He's absolutely outstanding. He's been really, really good, isn't he?
Okay, I think the problem is the goalkeepers that have been well, are mostly from teams that you probably want an outfield player for your 11.
Yeah. Backman's been good for Watford as well. He's not let many in there. He's decent.
Victor Johansson at Rotherham. I mean, if they had a better defence, I don't think he keep quite a lot of clean sheets, wouldn't he, Victor Johansson? I think for me, who do you want to go with? Should we go with Watford's goalkeeper or Rotherham's?
I think Watford. I think like you say, they've been quite consistent in there. Don't concede too many goals. I think good shout, obviously, but yeah, I think Batman is a decent keeper, and they've done well this year.
Yeah, we'll go with Watford's goalkeeper then. Left back.
I've gone for Leif Davis so far.
Okay.
I think he's started the season well.
Is that the one at Ipswich?
I think yes, it is. Yeah, I think.
Yeah, I'll agree. I'll agree with that.
I think he's again. Obviously, Ipswich have done very well. There was other players you could have put in there, but I think for the left back spot, the way they play has suited him as well. I think so. I think I've gone for him in there.
Right back, Martin. I think I'm going to go for Sunderland's fullback.
Yeah, I'd say Carl Walker-Peters at right back is for Southampton.
Okay, we'll go Walker-Peters.
I think he's been really good, but he can only choose one player from Southampton to go into this side.
This is it. So, do you want to go? Do you want to go with the?
It's him or Adam Armstrong,
Peters,
isn't it? Walker-Peters has been outstanding. He's one of the best right backs in the division. There's no doubt about that. He should be playing in the Premier League. He's that good. He was in the England squad.
Which position do you want? Which position do you want to go for?
There's probably better strikers. That's the thing than Adam Armstrong. To be quite honest, I chuck Walker-Peters in at right back. I really would.
You're gonna go Walker-Peters, yeah.
Okay. I would have gone with that as well, personally. Like you said, I think attacking wise, there's probably better than Adam Armstrong out there, but Walker-Peters he's showing he's Premier League quality. I think there's only one better right back in the division, that's Ricardo Pereira. But
I agree.
Maybe a little bit biased, but
to be fair, Pereira against Leeds was outstanding. I thought he was the best player for Leicester City that night.
Yeah, and he's playing that new sort of hybrid role as well. Which
doesn't play as a right back, does he? He plays
exactly.
As a midfielder.
But no, Walker-Peters, I think he's been outstanding. He's showing his quality. So yeah, I would echo him as well.
Centre backs. I'm going to go with Preston centre half Lindsay.
Yeah, he's top player.
Yeah, good shout. I don't agree with that.
Anyone else for centre back? I mean, we've got to pick one more centre off.
Vestergaard's been great at Leicester, isn't he? He's been one of the best centre backs in the division. But you've probably got better players in other positions.
We have.
Yeah,
that's your biggest thing. But he has been outstanding. You've got to give him a shout out because he's been that good.
Yeah, I agree. It's been good to see his recovery in a way from being the player that a lot of us wanted out, and obviously didn't get any time under Rodgers. So to see him be completely rejuvenated and shown his quality, I agree, definitely deserves a shout. But I think there's certainly other players from that Leicester squad that we'd rather using this 11.
Cardiff centre back, I think. Which one is it? Trying to think of his name. He's been fantastic for Cardiff this season. He's held the line well. I don't know if it's their left centre back or the right centre half.
Collins has been playing well for them. At centre, I don't know what position. I don't know if he plays at centre half though. He plays left side. I think he plays left back. He's not bad actually.
Jamilu Collins.
Jamilu Collins. Yeah, when I saw him play in the highlight show the other week, I thought he looked really good.
Gutas,
I've not seen enough of him.
Gutas.
Unfortunately, I haven't actually seen much of Cardiff, so I can't.
He's one of the top rated. He's the top top rated defenders in the division at the moment.
Okay, so we're going 4-2-3-1. So we've got to choose two centre defensive mids. I tell you what, I'm going to go Sarah at Norwich. I think he's had a fantastic start so far for him. He's had a good season, so I'm going to put Norwich in there with Sarah. Martin, centre defensive mid. If you had to pick one.
It's a tough one, really. I don't think there's anyone at our place I put in there. Like Flynn Downs is playing quite well, but we've got a Southampton player in there already. It's a tough one. I've enjoyed watching.
6 players in there at the minute.
Yeah, I enjoyed watching Harry Winks again. Can't really put him in there, but yeah, I think he's been superb when I've seen him play. It's a tough one. I don't know, to be honest.
See, for me, I would throw Harry Winks in. That's my Leicester.
Yeah, he's
pick.
that good.
I just think people look at Dewsbury Hall and say, "Oh, over him because he gets the assists and the goals." But if you watch the way that Leicester play, if you take Harry Winks out of that team, it's not going to be the same. I was so pleased to see him get that goal as well against QPR. I think he finally deserved it, but. Yeah, for me, Harry Winks is at the minute everything that makes us tick, and I think he's been unbelievable, an absolute steal. So for me,
unbelievable.
For me, I'm putting him in there. I know some people would go for Dewsbury Hall on the stats side of things, but I just think Harry Winks is so important to the way we play.
Cameron Grimes, Matty Grimes. I mean, he's another one up there. Hackney.
Hayden Hackney's been good. Yeah, young midfielder.
So who are we picking out the three then? Are we going to go for Harry Winks, Hackney, or Matty Grimes?
Who else from Leicester do you want to put in the side? That's the question. Who else from Leicester?
My heart's torn between Dewsbury Hall and
I like Dewsbury Hall, but then
if you look at Harry Winks,
Mavadini's been so good.
If you look at Harry Winks, he's been the most consistent Leicester player this season.
Yeah.
I know people go Dewsbury Hall like Gary says through his goals and assists and that, but Harry Winks has been the most consistent Leicester player this season. So I think I'm going to stick with Harry Winks. I think
he's the best holding midfielder in the division. He's the best.
He's been our player of the season so far. Yeah. For me,
it is worth as well just saying as a shout that I think Ampadu has also been very well when he's played, but I think the lead spot goes to somebody further forward, so that's the only reason I haven't added him in this discussion. So.
Centre attacking mid, I'm going to go Sammy Smodic.
Yeah, outstanding. He's been outstanding. You find it hard to leave him out with the amount of goals he's scoring.
Yeah,
I'll put Smodic in there. Left wing, right wing striker.
Well, I've got Somerville in it for me from Leeds. I think that's where my lead spot goes. I think he's been fantastic. I think he's such a dangerous player. And yeah, for me, I take him. And then the other one as well is I would look at Jack Clark from Sunderland. I think he's been brilliant. He's, obviously scoring plenty of goals. He's clearly their best player. Like Martin already spoke about it. If they can hold on to him, it's going to be the difference between whether or not they get that playoff spot or not. So those two for me go in that front three. Striker wise, I don't know. I'm torn, but I think those two are nailed on for me personally. Anyway,
I'll go
Would
with
you throw
Somerville. I'll stick
would
with
you
that.
throw Rutter into that? Would you throw Rutter into that? Because he's been the most. He's created the most assists in the division.
yeah, it's a
He's
fair shout.
I'll
it's
go
between
with.
it's between him and
I'm gonna
Somerville.
go. I'm
You were
gonna.
talking about it's between the two of them.
I'm
It's
gonna
really
go.
tough.
I'm gonna go Somerville. If you look at his stats and that this season, yeah, I don't think you can argue. I think I'll agree with Somerville.
Five assists already this
Right.
season.
Right wing,
Yeah.
you've got Jack Clark, you've got Whittaker at Plymouth. I mean,
Whittaker's a good shout as well.
who do you go for? Who do you want to put in there?
It depends who you're going to go for as a striker as well, because obviously
This
you
is
got
the
to
thing.
look
You can put Whittaker down the middle, but then Armstrong would have gone down the middle if Martin had gone
Yeah.
Southampton.
Yeah. But I think you're right. I think Whittaker deserves a shout. I mean, 7 goals, 3 assists from a team that most people are tipping to be in the relegation battle. It's impressive, and he's taken the league in his stride so far. So the question is, do you push him in there and maybe even push Smodics up top and put Jack Clark in behind? It's all these managerial tinkers you could do.
Where do you want to go, Martin? I mean, do we put Jack Clark in or Whittaker right wing?
Jack Clark, mate. Jack Clark.
Scores so
too many goals. Too good.
His striking position is going to be the issue, though. How many? I mean, Connor Chaplin would have got one for Ipswich.
Really well.
We've obviously gone for Davis at left back. So, I mean, what other right backs have? There's been quite a few strikers this season. Smodic, like Gary said, is going to push him further forward. Stansfield at Birmingham. I mean, another striker. Whittaker at Plymouth. I mean, he can play down the middle. Then you've got Middlesbrough with Riley McGree. Who else have you got? I mean, then you've got
even Matt Godden at Coventry to get 5 goals, considering the form they're on. He's a striker, and considering as well, he's filling in the void for Gorka, is obviously leaving, and the players at Coventry have lost, so he could be an outside shout for it. I don't know why I'm talking so nicely about Coventry, though. It feels wrong.
Bloody hell. I'm trying to bloody think now. What for strikers we got in the Championship? Adam Armstrong, Johnny Rowe. I mean, we've already chose Norwich.
He's got injured, Rowe. I think he's got injured, isn't he, Johnny Rowe? Did he get injured?
John Swift is a midfielder. Nathan Broadhead. Watford's Rajovic. Another one there who we could choose from. Stansfield. You could
Broadhead at Ipswich has done well. He's got 6 goals this season as well. He's been tidy. Joel Perot, but obviously we've used a Leeds player already, but he's already got 6 goals in his this season already. So he's doing, like you said, you threw Chaplin in there.
This is the thing. I mean, there's Philogene at Hull City. I mean, he's another one.
Philogene's one of the best young players in the division, isn't he?
Who could go out wide, and then we could put the Sunderland right back. It's right back, and then bring Armstrong up front. I mean, Martin, what do you reckon? I mean, what do you want to do? Like, I mean, you could put Armstrong up front if you wanted to.
Well, Adam Armstrong.
You can move. You could move.
To be fair, he scores goals, and Adam Armstrong just scores goals. There's one thing about it. There's one thing that he does. He does score goals. He's the second goal scorer in the division. I think he'd get 25 goals this season. I really do. Yeah. He looks really good. They're playing to his strengths as well. At last, took 2 seasons to find his position and start putting balls in where he needs them.
Mm.
I agree. Who's Sunderland's right back at the minute? I'm trying to really get it up and have a look. Is it Jen? No, it's not. Is it Trey Hume? Is it? I don't know. Who do they play at right back? Is it Dan Neil? I'm trying to think. Delap, another one. Yeah. I'm trying to think who Sunderland plays at right back.
Callum in the chat saying the striker. He's saying Chaplin.
Yeah, but then who do you put left back?
That's the problem. That's the problem. I
That's
don't
the
think you can
problem
put
we've
Chaplin
got.
in. I put you could just throw Armstrong through the middle.
Bellingham for Sunderland. I mean, we've already gone with a Sunderland in Jack Clark. This one's a toughie, isn't it? Who do we go striker? Do we put Stansfield in there or?
I think our problem is here. Whatever position we left him as, we were always going to struggle with because it's the same. You're obviously looking at the same sort of teams as early on, but yeah, I think I don't know. I think the only thing is there's good shouts in there, but again, it's the same teams we're looking at. The only one that wasn't is obviously Schmodix, which we had nailed into play there. So, yeah, I think you maybe if you're looking sort of slightly outside, if you just go down the list of top scorers, you're looking at Rajovic at Watford. He's obviously scored 6 goals.
I'll tell you what. Then we'll go with Rajovic at Watford. I think that'd be a fair one because I can't think of any more strikers who'd be in that position. Apart from Adam Armstrong. I'm not going to put Leicester's. I'm not going to put Leicester's in there because I just don't think we've scored many up front as what we could do. But I'm going to go Rajovic. I think Rajovic is fair. He's really on form at the minute, isn't he? He's talked highly at Watford. He's a threat, isn't he? He'll be a threat at the weekend. Rajovic for me then. So yeah, we'll go with Watford's Rajovic. That's it then. That is it.
That's our team.
That is our team. Martin,
it's been a pleasure.
Thanks for coming on, pal. I appreciate it. Gary, likewise. Gary, before I let you go, mate, tell everyone where they can find you and tell everyone you love for Leicester City.
Well, first of all, thanks for having me on, and obviously great to chat to the both of you there. So, for now, like I say, people can just find me on Twitter, spouting useless knowledge of football at C92, exactly the same, and over on Twitch as well. But like I say, that will need resurrected at some point. But mostly for now, it'll be Twitter. But yeah, no, like I say, thanks for having me on. It's great to be able to come and talk Leicester, especially with yourself, Jack. And obviously, Martin, great to speak the Championship with yourself. So I'd say it's been a good season so far across the whole of the Championship, not just obviously Leicester riding high at the top, but yeah, looking forward to seeing where we come in this next run of games and seeing how the league really shapes up ahead of that January window.
Yep. Cheers, Gary, mate.
Thanks very much.
Cheers. Martin, tell everyone where they can find you, pal.
Yeah, I'm on all platforms, on Twitter, X, whatever you call it now, at @footballmartin_. Same on Instagram, same on TikTok, and also YouTube as well. So, I put content predominantly out on YouTube and do loads of daily TikTok videos as well. So, loads of fan cam videos. So, if you're coming down to St Mary's with your team in the next couple of weeks, give me a DM. Many of you have done, and we'll get you on, and you can give me a lowdown on your team and your thoughts and aspirations for the season. So, I like to talk to as many fans, Jack, as I possibly can.
Yeah, someone's asked us when we're doing week 7. Is it week 17 now? The Championship, Martin. I'm sure we'll be down there doing it on Thursday, won't we, Martin? The Championship predictions.
Championship predictions.
We'll be there for that. Thanks for coming on, Martin, pal.
You're welcome, my friend. Thank you very much, Jack.
Cheers, mate. Take care. That is it then for the EFL Championship Forum. We've put a team together, haven't we? Even though we're hard to choose between the positions between us all. Thank you to Marty, Gary as well for coming on, joining me for a good chat. A very lengthy chat, to be fair. But no, likewise, it's good to chat football with different fans. Guys, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, hit the like button. Subscribe to the channel as well. Be really much appreciated. And that is it from me. So we've got the Championship prediction Thursday night. Friday night's the match preview for Watford. And then we'll have the vlog as well Saturday. So, yeah, busy. And, let's look forward to the next shows. Thanks for watching. Take care. Keep it here at the final whistle. Bye-bye for now. Hi all. Thank you for watching the final whistle. If you enjoy all our content, please remember to smash a like, share, and subscribe to the channel.